Reddit has a toxic atmosphere about any discussion related to the United States. Reddit is a toxic place to discuss anything related to the United States. Anything from a silly Canadian bacon joke to asking a genuine question will inevitably put the United States on trial for all sins real and imagined. It usually goes something like this. "Oh silly Canadians, that isn't bacon." And the response with tens of thousands of upvotes goes, "At least we don't fuck our siblings, support dictators, and shoot at schools for fun." I'm not even a nationalist or a patriot. It's just not fun to log into Reddit every day to have your national identity bashed. It's not even fun Murica jokes, it's clearly spiteful. I'm so tired of seeing threads that mention the metric or imperial system devolving into a circle jerk of how much better the metric system is. I don't know what they're trying to accomplish. They aren't gonna make America suddenly use the metric system. They care so much about the fact America uses a dumb system despite not being American. Reddit is just toxic in general. Agree, those responses aren't even restricted to the Old Navy flag t-shirt wearing, "God bless America," and no one else, Bible-thumping self-declared patriots. I responded to a post about a car sale. I used $1 instead of £1 in the op. I received a rant about how everything doesn't revolve around Americans and we don't even consider that. I didn't see it as anything other than a misspelled word. Reddit is a hotbed for commie LARPers who unironically call each other comrade and think organizing violent protests make them revolutionaries. It's a website that largely targets and welcomes misfits who have never been challenged in the real world on any of their beliefs, and blame someone or something else for all their problems. Twitter is its own slice of hell too. I'm not even American, but every other popular thread having someone shoehorn my school shootings into even the most tenuously linked discussion got old real fucking fast. This is the product of the rabid anti-West ideology of progressives. The same thing happens to European countries too, not just the US. It's quite fashionable nowadays to hate your own country, if you're a white native of that country, that is, and Western culture in general. Maybe we shouldn't put so much effort into basing our cultures, teaching our own kids a horribly skewed version of history, painting our ancestors as universal bad guys. I've lost count of how many supposedly tolerant and inclusive people reel out disgusting stereotypes when it comes to the American South. Reddit is a shit website for politics. This is Antifa Central. The people who forever talk shit about the US are all cowards who cover their faces and attack random old people, and set fires to things. Antifas are the lowest of all humans. Yeah, you must be American. Your writing is clearly indicative of your lower intelligence, which is extremely common in the inbred Americans. Birth defects from sex with siblings and cousins, UC/S. I mean, yeah, America for sure has aspects that are shitty, but so does every other country on earth. I've never even been to the States, but I've met a lot of Americans and it's obvious that there must be just as many good things to the country. I guess just the sheer size of the population and the obvious influence America has on the world culturally puts it in the spotlight, so whenever anything bad happens people can be quick to point fingers. A lot of it is the old trying to look cool by being a self-hater. It's nothing really new at all, it just gets compounded by the garbage voting system Reddit uses. There shouldn't even be one. I remember growing up, no one, and I mean no one in my schools, liked the local pro football team. It was so cool to hash on them even when they were going to Super Bowls. There is so many people, especially Canadians, with a vendetta against for no reason. I wish politics would stay out of non-political posts/subs, but what about the Trail of Tears? Dude, I'm American as apple pie and I don't get bothered when someone bashes the US. We have the best country. It is so good that immigrants from all over the world pour into here every day. Don't let Europeans bother you, even most of their ancestors moved here. It must be uncomfortable to be reminded ever so often that democracy also means that the people are responsible for the actions of their government. You can of course now argue that the US isn't a democracy, or that the people are actually divided up to the point where it might be better to divide the country between the tribes. But otherwise, I don't see how you'd escape from this. You simply can't indulge in warmongering, supporting dictatorships, and other types of uncalled for interference in the internal affairs or other nations without getting to the reaping what you sow bit at some point. Despicable actions make you despised. Believe me, as a German I know firsthand, some decades of cleaning up your act may help though, and again, that's on the back of experience. TLDR, with great power comes great responsibility. Or a great shitstorm, if you screw up. You make jokes by using a nation, so you have to take some comments. Don't give if you can't take, it's a simply rule. Woman shrugging, medium skin tone. We have intervened in so many other countries that I really can't blame people from those countries for being spiteful, since we really don't have a good track history when it comes to ethics. There's a lot of ass kissing and a lot of hate on Reddit, a lot of that depends on what subs you follow. I think this is more of a United States issue and less a Reddit issue. The problem is that America is very often depicted as the greatest country in the world. The rest of the world is annoyed by this and likes to take every more or less suited opportunity to point out, no, you're not. Your national identity bashed. Why does seemingly everyone even have a national identity for the US? Why can't the US be individualist like it's supposed to be? Even on hobby subs people are just as shitty as everywhere else. Reddit has a toxic atmosphere. Fixed your title. There needs to be somebody who tells Americans that their country is not the best, because that's all some people are telling themselves. Most of the anti-Americans are primitivists who wish they lived in an undeveloped country. They have nothing but bad things to say about progressive secular countries and nothing but good things to say about third world religious extremist countries. USA. USA. Ignore the haters. Gives you an idea of the world's general opinion of America. I read a post earlier trying to defend guns, whatever. But they felt the need to add crime from other place, like the UK's apparent knife crime problem. If the UK has a knife crime problem, the US has a bigger one, because in 2017, the worst years for 10 years for knife-related deaths, the UK has 280 people die. If you scale that up to the American population, being 4.8x bigger than the UK, America having a knife crime problem would mean it has 1.3k knife deaths a year. The US actually had 1.5k knife deaths last year. Considering you also have the choice of guns, that's pretty high. You cannot dig at other countries and not expect it back. The US always tries to get involved with other countries and deflects criticism. I will defend my country and also accept criticism, but make sure it right. Funny thing is, Reddit prides itself on being inclusive and tolerant, but it's filled to the brim with emotionally unstable whack jobs that take everything too seriously and don't understand a single thing about America, even the ones that do live here. Majority of them are hypocrites also. They call the president a dictator, but they want to control everything you say, do, eat, drink, watch, etc. And don't get me started on the subject of firearms. Majority outside the US know jack shit about them. America, where you can proudly wave the flag of the Nazi or the Confederate, then immediately wrap yourself in the security blanket that is the First Amendment to avoid criticism and anger internet mobs. Reddit hates white people. More news at 11. Reddit. Most users are liberals, and liberals tend to dislike Western ideology and culture. People be jealous and haters gonna hate. What do you expect? Reddit is a place where far-left college kids come to cry about how horrible their life is and how it's all the boomers and USA's fault. But in reality they are mostly spoiled lazy kids looking for an excuse to why they are so miserable. Don't let them bother you, and if it does, just find better subs to follow. USA is amazing and in my opinion the best nation on earth. I'm a Canadian before someone calls me a racist nationalist a-hole. America is the richest and most powerful country in the world. Let them bitch. I think this is true, but I wouldn't say this will stop me from bashing the US. Not saying this to be a dick or anything. Oh boy. You better thank the heavens you aren't British, because you could forget Reddit and just watch the news. There's quite a bit of anti-circle jerk going on here. Unless you're a super liberal, socialist, underscore what's yours is mine and what's mine is mine too underscore, while taking a dump on the sidewalk in front of a nice restaurant where people who actually work for a living go to dine in a nice atmosphere kind of person. 99% of Reddit is made up of 14 to 20 somethings who have never really had to work hard, still living with their parents, or their attention deprived 30 to 40 somethings that just want the young people to think they are cool older people that must have once been just like themselves. Underscore like we all weren't super idealistic and easily manipulated when we were younger, underscore, when you grow up and adult, as kids say these days, the majority of people realize that it's just not feasible to work hard and give all the fruits of your labors away to kids who are only adults technically by age but not by experience. You become conservative with your finances and what you have worked so hard for over the years, or you become a sad parody of yourself and continue to live off your parents and whomever else is suckered into helping you leech off of society. That's the America you're referring to, because the other part kicks ass and takes fucking names. Well, I guess there's never been a better time to revolt. The vast majority of the American public can't actually defend their worldview with reason. That pretty much only leaves toxicity. A simple well, why, is enough to reduce your average American voter to infantile behavior. I personally don't care. For one, it's just the internet, just like the news, can't believe everything. Maybe it's because I've got thick skin, and I love talking shit, so if it's thrown back I get a kick out of it. But I getcha, I guess the only thing that gets annoying are the jokes about mass killings. Very easy to throw at us for any rebuttal of an argument, but we also can't say it's outdated. Shit happens too often.